You traveled over 1,200 miles in the U.S. to get this done. So why didn't you go overseas since it seemed to be cheaper?
Well, that's exactly why I didn't go, because it only seemed to be that way. When you discount something, I don't believe you get the full benefit sometimes.
So we both got dental implants, but you actually traveled over 1,200 miles to get yours done. I think that today we're going to talk about the differences between traveling within the continental United States versus overseas. And then really important, we're going to talk about 3 mistakes to avoid when traveling to get your dental implant procedure done. Did you look outside the United States at all?
I inquired. I had a couple friends where I live that are pretty well off, and they traveled outside of the United States. They had cash to pay out front. Not everybody has that. Most people that have the issues that I have, and many people that I know, don't have that kind of cash. Otherwise, we wouldn't be suffering the way we are. And so this person went and came back. There was some problems. She had to go back, fly over, overseas again, spend all this money in a hotel, and had to go a 3rd time.
So with a place like that, you might not ever really know what the cost is going to be.
Yeah.
Because whenever you go, you think it's going to be cheaper at first. And oh my gosh, that's all you're seeing is those dollar signs. But if something goes wrong, what do you do?
Exactly. So I researched other companies, went and personally saw other places. They couldn't guarantee this
that were local.
That were local. I could have gone 80 miles out, but again, they want to do piecework. And having experienced that for the last 15, 17 years of piecework, you're just chasing the tiger's tail. You're putting one fire out after another.
Right.
They tell you to wait 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever. Just not going to happen. It's not going to solve your problem. And where I was with most of my teeth gone, I needed to take care of it. My mental health was suffering. I was just, and it's not a vanity thing. People are so confused. It's not a vanity thing. It affects so many aspects of your life. Well, when I called this other big company, I made an appointment, and they're like, well, this is our price. And it was substantially higher than what I ended up paying for my beautiful teeth.
Even counting the travel.
Even counting the travel.
So, that's awesome to hear, because there's a lot of people, they want to know.
Yeah. And when I asked them, I go, so what if I have to get a sinus lift? Well, it's $2,400 per right or left. So that's another $5,000 right there. I go, what if I need bone graft? Well, we have to make that conclusion when we get here. I go, well, you can't give me a price, an all-inclusive price. Well, if we don't have to do any of those things, we'll start the process. Then you'll go away for 2 weeks and we'll come back, because we don't want to do it all in one day. And I'm like, well, you kind of advertise that. They couldn't really back that up with information that made me feel comfortable. So I canceled the appointment, called Nuvia, made my
1,200 miles away.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I probably could have gone closer, but like I said, once I made up my mind to change my life, I wanted to make it something memorable. I wanted to be in the beautiful mountains.
And it's what do they advertise? Teeth in
24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, and it's fast, not in the fast way, but they're trying to get you out the door. Every person has their job,
right?
And they're an expert at what they do. The first day you get there, they do X-rays, make sure everything's good, make sure I don't need sinus lifts, bone grafts, that kind of stuff, bone density, whatever they were talking about.
Because with Nuvia, it's all included, from the anesthesia to everything.
All included. There was there's no surprises whatsoever.
No surprises.
None whatsoever. And and they reassured me when I got there. I go, hey, before we do this, what if I need this or this? They're like, it's not an issue.
Even though you're 1,200 miles away.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Day 2, when they showed me the teeth, what my options were, the different kinds of styles of teeth, I kind of told them what I wanted, and they matched it perfectly. Did all the measurements. So when I had surgery on Wednesday, they'd already had the measurements and everything they needed. So they put me under. I woke up to a room full of experts doing the work, and then went home. Went to the hotel. Recovered on that Thursday, or that Wednesday, and then came back on Thursday and get the teeth put in.
And put them in, and you're ready to go.
Popped them in. No discomfort. It's a foreign object in your mouth.
Right.
Having had dentures, I was used to it. So if anyone else had never experienced that, it might be kind of odd, but it's great. It's a great experience. So
they put them in. And then much longer were you there? One
more day, and I left, and I saw them for, post-op visit on my way out. Got on the plane. I was fine. I had some Advil. I felt good. Slept on the plane, came home, and just stayed and recovered. And after 7 days, I looked great.
So at the time you were doing this, was the cost guide available that they have now?
I didn't have a physical cost guide. We spoke on Zoom. Okay. I ended up getting information through the mail for financing, because after that in via the cost guide, we had the discussion. So they sent me
Right.
information about rates, what I was looking for, how much my monthly payment would be. And also that's based on what my needs were.
Correct.
You know, I needed a full upper and lower arch.
So they evaluated your whole situation, and then y'all discussed price, financing,
All of it.
things like that, and the investment. Okay.
Yes.
Well, Nuvia provided me with this cost guide. I actually put the link to this cost guide in the description below that will direct you on actually why the cost is what it is. Here are the top 3 mistakes to avoid while getting this procedure done. Number 3 is not to choose the first place that just seems nice, that just seems like it's going to fit your budget, that you've already preconceived that you might need, but it is to do your research. Pick the place that's going to fit you best.
And like anything, it's like if you buy a new vehicle, you're going to invest your money in a home or a pool or whatever your interest is. I advise anybody to research it.
Right.
You have to know what you're investing your money in. I knew what the costs were going to be.
Right.
I knew what I could afford and what I was willing to spend beyond that, because at
Correct.
this point in my life, I decided to invest in myself.
Investing, that's a big thing. So number 2 of the mistakes to avoid is not knowing upfront costs, because we don't want to go in and just, hey, here's my checkbook, just fill in whatever you want. So and then also, whenever you're traveling like this, you might not know the timeline. The timeline could be just something crazy.
Absolutely. Well, Nuvia, with Nuvia, there was options to get a timeline. I asked them for dates, and then I picked the date that worked for me. And then I was able to schedule my life around that. So I knew I had upcoming events I had to go to. So I picked the date that I picked in July, and that worked really well for me.
Whatever your lifestyle is, it was 24 hours.
Yes.
Basically, 24-hour turnaround. And as we all know, time is money.
Unlike the company I almost went with before, like I said, we're talking a $6,000 difference or more had I chose them, and I wouldn't have known that till I actually had gotten there. And it was going to cost me $150 just for the x-rays and stuff. So there was that cost just going to do that. I didn't get that.
Because with Nuvia, it's all included.
Yeah. I mean, my sister had a friend who went to Mexico, got the work done, and immediately came back and did the wrong things, ate the wrong food, and had to go back. Although it was her fault, but it became a big expensive mess.
Yeah, even though it was her fault, it doesn't change the fact.
Yeah.
So with a place like that, you might not ever really know what the cost is going to be.
Yeah.
How long's it been since you got them in?
Oh, 7 months.
7 months. So in those 7 months, you're 1,200 miles away.
Yeah.
Have you had to go back for any issues?
No, you go back after 4 months. Sooner, obviously, if you're closer by, but 4 months, because obviously there's going to be, the swelling's going to go down, and there's going to be some tweaking and twerking of the adjustments. But yeah, my gums healed great. I went back. You learn to floss. You learn to use a water pick and do all that kind of stuff.
Number 1 thing to avoid would probably be going overseas to have this done.
From what I've learned from people I know that have gone overseas, their experience wasn't that great. They went because they thought they were saving money. And maybe they were paying cash up front to get a bit of a discount. And I think we all know discounts are just that. When you discount something, I don't believe you get the full benefit sometimes, A friend of mine went, had the work done at a good cost, had issues immediately, came home, had to go back, which was costly. Stayed at a hotel, rent a car, all that kind of stuff. And when this person came back, there was still issues with their teeth that they dealt with here, but still had to go back at their time. And I'm sure they have amazing doctors, but with my research, I could research exactly what I was getting here, and I don't get that same information when I try to research somebody from another country.
Well, I got mine done not very far, where you actually traveled.
Yeah.
And you've had great success. I had great success. I had one small issue, and I only had to travel an hour.
Yeah.
But guess what? They took care of that issue right there on the spot. I couldn't imagine if I would have had it done somewhere else, like overseas.
Yeah.
And I would have had to, just for that little bitty issue that I had, I would have had to travel all the way over there and spend all kinds of extra money just to get some little bitty issue handled.
Yeah.
Where you actually travel way further than I did inside the United States.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine if either one of us would have had to go outside the United States and had any issues.
It would have been a financial burden. Plus, I would have been really stressed out.
Correct.
You know, I wouldn't have added to the anxiety I already had prior to making that decision. Like I said, once I made the decision to go, I never looked back. So I have zero anxiety around my teeth right now. And this company has state-of-the-art equipment. I don't know what I'm walking into when I go to another country.
You have no clue. Not be laying in bed, in pain or whatever, and just like, what's going to happen next?
No, I want to go and smile at the pool with my brand new teeth I got here
Correct.
in the States. You know?
Awesome. I agree. Yeah. So that's the three things to avoid. And again, we mentioned cost in that and not really knowing. And now they have the price guide. The price guide right here. So just you can click the link below and click on it, read up on it, get some answers. So Christopher, we talked about all these things, and before we end this segment, do you have anything else that you'd like to add concerning travel-wise, extra costs, things like that would help the people watching this video?
I think all those things work themselves out once you decide to love yourself and do something for yourself. You love your kids, you love your job, you love your family, your dog. Love who you are enough to take care of yourself. Because if you're not all there, you can't have all those things working for you. You can't be the best person you are.
Right. Who you're intended to be.
Exactly. And it's, like I said, it's not a cosmetic issue. It covers every aspect of your life,